Hello and welcome to this episode of Inside the Piranha Club with me, Rebecca Clancy.
And me, Ben Hunt.
And me, Mark Van Bryans. That was heat lag there from Ben, I think, wasn't it?
It was. I was going to say, should we get straight
Heat
to
lag?
the pertinent question? Let's get to the pertinent question. How are you surviving in this heat wave, Ben, in your loft room with your dress on?
Yeah, I'm wearing a dress today, so I thought, well, I'm glad we broached that subject quite early. But yeah, look.
Well, you took the mick out of Mark for his shirt last time, so I think we should just get to
you
it.
look like Fred Flintstone at a funeral.
Look, there's some science here, right? Because we've been going to the Middle East long enough to understand that they wear, the guys out there wear the outfits for a reason. And yes, normally they're white. I've just gone for a black version, which is doing the trick today so far. So, yeah.
Okay, well, Mark and I both just have running clothes on because we're sweating so much. I'm actually now drinking
Well, then
water
hang
with
on a minute.
electrolytes because I'm sweating so
Well,
much.
who's the silly one then?
Well, not
No,
me.
you
I'm in
wear
my
them
running clothes.
Yeah, because it's so hot, not because we've been for a run.
Oh, I thought you were saying that you have been for a run.
No. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Also, Mark, how was Take That? Didn't have you down as a Take That fan.
Would
Oh
it
my
shock
God,
you
are
to
you
know
joking?
going again tonight?
You're going again?
Tonight, yeah.
Are you
And we went-
serious?
Etihad on Saturday as a Christmas present from Fee's sister. And then, yeah, we're at London Stadium tonight, which might be a bit of a sweat box. Might have to get one of Ben's dresses.
Super fan. Don't call it a dress.
I can't believe you're going to see them again. Was it that good?
They were very good, yeah. Supported by Belinda Carlisle. One for you there, Ben, I imagine.
Circle in the sand, round and round.
Exactly.
That's it. Right, well, we haven't even... What are we doing today? We are discussing the Austrian Grand Prix. Yes, a firm favourite. Absolutely beautiful part of the world. Very lucky that we get to go into the Styrian Mountains. I'm not sure I'd ever probably go there otherwise, but I would actually highly recommend it. Lovely, lovely, lovely place. Especially if you can fly into the airport. That is 2 minutes away, but you probably need a private jet for that. Let's start with Lewis Hamilton because the man is on a charge. Obviously won the last time out. 2 second place podiums before that. He's closed the gap to Antonelli, who's leading the championship, to 41 points, but at one point it was 66 points. Ben, I'm going to ask you the question after a bit of a break that we've had. Is he actually a title contender?
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. Yeah, he's in it. I don't think he's going to win this weekend. I know we'll probably come on to that, but no, I think he is. I think he's in a good space. And, a happy Hamilton is a concern for every other driver on the grid. And, he's smiling at the moment, seems to be happy with his private life, cars going in the right direction. Results have taken an uptick. So, yeah, look, I'd be really worried if I was another driver on the grid about seeing Hamilton so enthused, shall we say.
Enthused. Mark, right, well, let's come to the point that Ben just made then. Who is going to win this weekend? Because it's actually quite a favourable hunting ground for a few drivers. Norris got his first ever podium in Austria in 2020. Leclerc has done very well here. I think he's had 4 podiums in the last 5 years, including victory back in 2022. Leclerc desperately needs to get back to winning ways because he is being completely outshone by his teammate Hamilton. So who's your money on this weekend, Mark?
Kimi Antonelli, maybe. I don't know. I think Merck had a bit of a setback in Barcelona.
I know. It's such a disappointing answer.
A little bit of a setback for Merck.
Let's have another go at that. Let's just have another go. Mark, who do you think is going to win?
Ask me the question again.
Mark, who's going to win this weekend?
Lance Stroll.
Was it the way I asked it? That was the issue.
No, I just think, look, it's a very minor setback last time out, but they were absolutely trounced by Ferrari.
Minor setback? He didn't finish.
No, I mean, in terms of George finishing second, they were still on the pace. I think, in terms of
this is
where
like
they
Ben's
are.
turnaround.
Yeah, exactly.
People agreed with me. So,
when is a setback?
We may have been a minority.
I think they just want to bounce back, won't they? They want to show a bit of bounce back ability, as Ian Dowie would say. And I think this is a good opportunity to do that. The car is very good. You imagine it will go well there. It's going to be very, very hot there this weekend as well, isn't it? I think it's worth flagging. It could be mid-30s. I think they've got orange weather warning or whatever colour that I don't know what that means, but
you would know anyway,
warnings and stuff like that. So yeah, I think it'll be a really interesting race. I think look, Antonelli, it's boring now, isn't it? But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he takes it. If Lewis is on the podium, it's still, can you call it progression after what we won last time out? But it's just continuity now for Lewis is key, I think, isn't it? It's keeping himself in the fight for as long as possible rather than it being a flash in the pan. And
Okay.
I'm
Well-
enjoying
Leclerc and Russell. Leclerc and Russell are in that. Both of them need a massive uptick in performance and just outlook for the rest of the season, I think, don't they?
Okay, but to counter the Antonelli optimism, and this is slightly strange given that Mercedes have won all but one race this year, does Mercedes have a reliability issue?
Potentially. I think
yeah, it does.
I think Ben touched on it on the last pod, didn't he? And basically said Alpine have actually been better. They've had the least of the reliability issues with that Mercedes power unit. But I suppose, yes, it would have to be the answer, wouldn't it? Like, their DNFs have not been because they've been crashing the car. They've been because of issues they've had underneath the bonnet, if you like. And that would be a concern, a growing concern as well, that they've not managed to get on top of that. But yeah, again, they've got a lot of smart people who'll be trying to do a lot of things to make sure that doesn't happen.
I really enjoyed your Ian Dowry reference, bringing back memories for me of covering those Crystal Palace press conferences at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Why were they
Did you ever do one of those in a dress?
He would do it just before the start of the day, and he would always insist, and it would be like me and one other person trying to fill this press conference. It was a lot of fun.
Bounce back ability. I've not heard that word for a
Yeah.
while. I know. Well, look, Ferrari don't have reliability issues at the moment, other than Charles Leclerc not being able to finish a race, it would seem. Unfortunate. But Ben, let's come to you on this one then, because on Charles Leclerc, he has had a miserable run so far. This is a good circuit for him. 3 podiums in the last 4 years, including a win. What is happening now on his side of the garage?
Well, I just think that he's trying to second guess. He's got last year was all very well and good because he had Hamilton coming in, and that was a big concern. What's going to change to the team? Because Hamilton didn't perform very well and struggled to adapt, let's say, he was able to get the better of his teammate. But over the winter, there's been a reset, there's been a shuffle, change in mentality. I mentioned before about Hamilton now being happy. It's the opposite situation in Leclerc's garage. He's now looking across and seeing his teammate outperform him. He's seen technical changes in that garage with regards to brakes and products which are being used, which he's asked for to be put onto his car. He's second guessing, and the moment that you get that element of doubt in your head, it can wreak havoc. You need these drivers not just physically but mentally to be on it when they get to the racetrack. If he's coming into a weekend worrying and wondering what Hamilton's doing different this time around, then it can put you into a negative space, and start chasing elements that maybe there or aren't there, and you get in a bit of a tailspin. And I think that's probably where he's at. He's changing the brakes, he's trying to copy what Hamilton's doing in the hope of getting a little bit of improvement in fortune, but it's just not happening for him. And what he's really got to do is just forget what's going on the other side of the garage and just knuckle down and get on with what he's doing, and try not to let Hamilton's results affect him, but just take the positive out of the fact the car's quick.
Well, easier said than done, I suspect. And George Russell's in a similar place with Mercedes as well, isn't he? He can't let it get to him.
No, exactly that. And he must be wondering, I presume George is probably considering the luck factor more than anything else, rather than anything technical or any changes on the
even
car.
now, because at the last race, Antonelli didn't finish, but Antonelli passed him fair and square on track right near the end.
Yep. But
He's
what
got
I'm
the
saying
measure
is
of
that and I think that Russell now needs to do a similar process as Leclerc and try and block out that noise and all the negativity.
Mark, you were nodding along, nodding dog.
I was, yeah, and it's true, isn't it? Like, this sport, it's on track, it's cars, it's all that speed, but actually a lot of it's in the mind. And I think both of those guys at the moment are clearly not in the best headspace, and I think it only gets slightly worse. I mean, Russell finished second last time out, but he'd been gutted because he put it on pole, and then his teammate, who he thinks, Hamilton decides probably fighting for the championship against, gets DNF, but he still can't bring it home for the 25 points. Leclerc, I think Ben's right, is almost, a little bit of a worse situation for Leclerc, because I think most of the issues are of his own making, or the threat from Lewis as well. I think with George, almost every race, George has had a bit of bad luck or a bit of timing has gone against him, where you could have said if buts and maybes and things like that, isn't it? But I think he will be able to look at it and go, actually, if the luck changes, I still back myself to be in a position where I can now maybe string 3, 4, 5 race wins together.
Yeah, and he's going to need to do that. I'll tell you who aren't relying on luck to get what they need is McLaren, who put out their pre-race note earlier in the week, and they said that they're going to be trialling an experimental rear wing in the first practice session, which is always exciting because we've seen what Ferrari have been doing and everyone else has been slightly playing catch up with that 360, whatever we call the pirouetting rear wing that they've got. This is good innovation, and we spoke about it, didn't we, a couple of podcasts ago, about how European season does tend to lend itself to this, uptick in the development race. So McLaren bringing this rear wing, as I said, it's a happy hunting ground for Norris. They looked like the team who were going to be competing with Mercedes. Ferrari have since jumped them. What was that? Was that a dog?
It's very much my dog, yeah.
Oh, right. Good. At least you're keeping it nice and cool in this weather.
Yeah. He was just agreeing with you there.
All right. Thanks, Maisie. So what was I talking about? McLaren. So, Ben, this is an important upgrade, isn't it, for them? Because they really need to get back into this fight.
Yeah, important time of year. We've seen before, this race does tend to be the one where they like to bring experimental parts, and it's led to a successful turnaround. 2023, we talk about it, and it was this race in Austria where things did turn around. It was the comeback, McLaren back to the top. This was the race, so they'll be hoping for a similar thing this year. The only other team who are bringing upgrades are Red Bull. They are due to bring a big, substantial package, and Verstappen, most successful driver there, 5 wins, will definitely come into the mix as well. So I know we talk about predictions and stuff. I do think that those teams, Red Bull, McLaren, Mercedes, obviously, and Ferrari, are all going to be in the mix, and I think it's going to be a really good Austrian Grand Prix.
Oh, that good prediction. I like it. On Red Bull, Mark, they sort of haven't been anywhere. Max Verstappen obviously spent the first part of the season so far moaning about the new regulations and saying he's leaving the sport if they don't change them. That's all gone a bit quiet. This is quite literally their home race, not just the fact that it's in Austria, but they own the track that we are about to go racing on, the Red Bull Ring. Is there any way that Verstappen, not just on the podium, but he could snatch a win here?
Yeah, and I think the main reason that is because we're talking about Max Verstappen, that car, we know the car looks more competitive. Monaco, it looked more competitive. I know Monaco's a bit of a different animal altogether, isn't it? But it looked competitive in Monaco, and then it let him down very much at the start, didn't it? But yeah, I think new upgrades, if that brings them a little bit more speed, then look, Max can mix it with anyone, can't he, at the end of the day? Hadjar as well, I think he's finally got a teammate next to him who knows how to handle him and handle that pressure. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a big point score for both of them and potentially Max on the top step. I wouldn't be surprised about that. Not that I'm shifting from my prediction of Kimi Antonelli, but yeah, like Ben said, at the moment there are probably, if you look at McLaren, Mercedes, Ferrari, and potentially Red Bull, on their days, they've probably all got a package underneath them that could win a Grand Prix. As we saw last time out, Hamilton was head and shoulders above the Mercs last time out, wasn't he?
What a good set of regulations we have to allow for this competitive.
Yeah, you'd be silly to change it, Ben.
Wouldn't you just? I mean, everything seems to be working quite well. So why would you change them? Oh, hang on a minute. Anyway, let's not digress.
Let's not, although how unlike us. With Hadjar as well, he will be desperate to get a podium. And just in case you missed it, obviously he scored a podium in Monaco, but it was 4 days later taken from him when Gasly's penalties were also taken off him. So he was reinstated into third. All very ridiculous, very embarrassing, and also not really covered that much, which was bizarre. But anyway, Hadjar will be out looking for a podium, and this does seem like a good bet for him. Let's look a bit further down the grid. Alpine, as you mentioned earlier, MMB, haven't had the Mercedes issues that the other teams of Mercedes themselves and McLaren have had. Alpine looking very strong. Gasly really has stepped it up this season, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think a lot of people that you speak to have always rated him as a driver. I think the package underneath him now is good. He is the number one driver in that team. I think that's clear for all to see. But Colapinto also is now picking up points. You know, but there might be the tail end of the points, but he's proving that he can do what is required of him, which is just score points on a regular basis. I think their target this year will have to be fifth in the championship. We mentioned the other four there that they just score too many points on too regular a basis, even when they have issues. You know, I think at the moment Alpine are on 50 odd points. They're not a million miles behind Red Bull, but you imagine that gap will grow over the time. It looks on paper at the moment like that best of the rest battle is going to be Alpine, probably against Racing Bulls. Um, Two teams that, again, on their day, you can expect both drivers to be in the almost that 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. And if you can get both in there, you're obviously on to a winner. But yeah, Alpine benefited massively from the Mercedes power unit they've got this year, but also the car is clearly a decent package. And yeah, a driver in Gasly who now is being able to show what he can do on a more consistent basis, I think. But Ben, you've been impressed by Racing Bulls, Ben. I know you've mentioned a couple of times, haven't you?
Yeah, I think they've been quietly going about their business. Liam Lawson, he had 5 points finishes this season, and I've been really impressed with him. Lindblad, obviously, first season in Formula One, he scored points in 3 races, so that's a fair return. Lawson's in the top 10 of the championship. I don't think that he can ask much more than that at the moment. I'm pleasantly surprised with how they've been cracking on.
Mark, let's come to your favourite team, Cadillac. What are their chances of scoring a point? Because again, in this whole mess that was that end result from Monaco, they thought they may have scored a point. They didn't in the end. It went to Aston Martin, their big rival down the road in Silverstone. Can Cadillac score points this weekend?
Yes,
On what is a proper racing track?
with a Cadillac caveat. I think their only chance of scoring points this year is going to be a bit like that Monaco situation, which is high attrition. We see a few retirements, a few accidents, a bit of a lopsided grid. Maybe if there's a wet race later in the year and we get that kind of imbalance you see at certain races, they've got to be there to pick up the pieces. It looked like they'd done that in Monaco, only to then have that penalty for Perez, which he and the team were gutted about. Even if it was just the case of 1 point, I'm sure that had been celebrated across the UK and in the US. A bit like Aston Martin, really, with Fernando Alonso getting that 1 point. He just happened to be, wily old driver that he is. He happened to be in the right place at the right time to score that. But I think for those two teams in particular, all the stars are going to have to align. All the cards, whatever phrase you want to say, all the cards are going to have to come up. Ace, who cares? But yeah, essentially, they can only. It's hot. They're only going to score points this year on the back of other teams failing to do so. I don't think their own performance is going to get them into the top 10 at any stage, and maybe it shouldn't. They're a brand new team. They're still learning. So yeah, we in our special we spoke about it, didn't we? And said as long as they can become more competitive over the season and close the gap, that has to be the immediate target for them. I think, rather than worrying about top 10 finishes.
Yeah, nice plug there. We did do a 3-part special on Cadillac and went up to Silverstone to see them and interviewed all the top bods about how they have put that F1 team together. Worth a listen. You can find it in wherever you get your podcasts, really. Quick question, Mark. What colour do you think your T-shirt is?
See, I can cheat on this. It's purple, isn't it?
Right, okay. It's a very bright purple.
Yeah, I only know purple because Fee told me, but also it's one of those that in this kind of heat just attracts bugs all the time. So, like I'll be in the park with a dog and they're just like, I look down and I'm just covered in little flies and midges and all that kind of thing. So, yeah, it's a lovely little number.
Oh, right. Very good. Right. Mark, we have your prediction. Ben, what is your prediction for this weekend?
Norris win.
Oh, blimey.
Oh, here we go. Wasn't expecting that. British bias.
Verstappen second, Hamilton third.
Ooh.
No Mercs on the podium.
No.
All right, Mark, finish your podium.
Antonelli, Russell, Verstappen.
Ooh, okay.
How about you, Bec?
Oh.
I'm going to go Lewis Hamilton, Antonelli, Max Verstappen. I think Max Verstappen, I just think in Austria he's going to be on the podium. And like you say, he could even nick a win. I think there's going to be an awful lot of very boring conversations about track limits as well.
I know that's kind of stopped, hasn't it, since they put the gravel in and whatnot?
Not really, though, has it?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, last year wasn't actually a bad race. I don't think from
No, it's
memory.
normally a good one. I enjoy this one. It's proper
Yeah,
overtaking.
I mean, I like going there.
It's my least favourite track to run. The hill from
Oh yeah, that's
turn
true.
1 to 3 is utterly brutal. And then when
Yeah,
you
in this
get
heat
to
as
3,
well.
you think you're at the top, and you turn the corner, you're not at the top, and it just keeps going up. Yeah,
I
it's
was
a
I was
difficult one.
joking with the colleagues earlier about the water that you get to drink there, the Prickland water that tastes
Oh.
like it's it's a Red Bull brand. It's still water, but it tastes like carbonated water, sparkling, which is like the worst of both worlds, isn't it?
Yeah. Nothing
It's
worse
an
than sparkling
amazing
water.
media centre. The media centre is perched high up, and we've got an incredible view over the entire track, and we are very well fed, which,
Yeah.
as you'll well know, we care more about our stomachs than anything else. So if you feed us, we will
Well,
love you.
and previously during World Cup and Euro tournaments, they've put a beer tap in the press room, which is
Ooh.
which is a nice addition, I'm sure.
I imagine that would get well used by certain people I could probably name, but I won't.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we have teed it up for hopefully it'll be a good race. We're all quite excited about it. We said it's going to be exciting. Have I missed anything? I'm a bit hot as well. I feel like my brain isn't fully working.
There's not really
No,
we've not seen a lot
I
of
think we've
stuff
covered.
happen between the races, have we? There's not been,
No,
you
strangely
know,
quiet on the news front.
yeah, maybe
Yeah.
everyone is just really hot and bothered. Yeah, let's just have it. It's almost like a summer break in all but name in terms of very little has actually happened in terms of announcements, things like that. We talk about silly season, but we haven't really seen the start of that yet, have we? There's normally one move that will trigger that. Do you know what I mean? There's almost like one thing will get announced and then it's a house of cards. This is the phrase I was trying to think of earlier. There you go. And then that's what happens, isn't it? One bit moves into place and then the whole thing will start going. And yeah, but
I'll tell you, yeah, I mean,
after Silverstone, maybe we'll know a bit more about what the makeup of the grid next year. But it's interesting because there are a lot of drivers that are out of contract this year and could be looking for seats elsewhere or could be looking to just stay in Formula One. So I think we could have a good couple of weeks, couple of months of contracts and who goes where.
oof.
Right.
Like that.
Okay. Well, we'll get to silly season.
The other thing that pops up after the Barcelona weekend was the press trip to the Mad Ring or the
Madrid, yeah.
Madring, whichever's your preference. And colleagues seem to be quite impressed by the setup there. They think it's going to be ready in time. There might be a lot of pop-up stuff for the first year, but that's kind of in keeping with the street circuit vibe anyway, isn't it? But it looks like it's all progressing nicely. I mean, there were rumours that Spain wouldn't be ready, Madrid wouldn't be ready in time for the Spanish Grand Prix. But no, it seems to be going ahead. It might be a bit of a dash to the line as they always are, but it looks like it'll be going ahead, no concerns. So that's positive.
Well, as we well know, even the most established of races, we turn up on a Thursday for media day and it's not finished. So you'd have to forgive Madrid if they weren't
Can
quite
I bring
there.
up tracks? Can I keep talking about tracks and go on a massive tangent? But Ben, I'd like to get your thoughts, given that you're a lover of all things Brit racing. Brands Hatch coming into Formula E is great, isn't it? How cool is that?
Yeah, I thought that. And also, what was the other circuits? Kota, and then
Zandvoort, yeah.
Zandvoort, yeah, and I thought that was a really positive step from Formula E. I looked at that calendar and a little bit jealous, really. Some really good destinations there now, and I thought, yeah, it's perfect. I absolutely love Brands Hatch. It's such a cool track, but it'll feel mega as well. I think that's the thing. Like you get 30, 40, 50,000 people in there, and it'll just feel. I was going to say electric. Can't use that pun, but it'll just feel buzzy. It'll be just really, really good. Yeah, it'll just be like a really good test for not only Formula E but also the British fan base. I just feel like holding it in Battersea Park didn't work. It was sort of picturesque, but just didn't work. I think the Docklands was too much of an outlier in terms of it
the
was
XL
in
was
and out
weird.
track.
It was soulless.
It just didn't feel like the right place. But by putting it into a proper racetrack, established racetrack with plenty of history, that's a real good test. And I think the same for Zandvoort as well. And just, I just think those two venues were really, really good. And Kota as well. 3 very good venues to see where Formula E can get to. Because I've always been I'm not a fan of the fan. I'm never really a fan, but like I've been a supporter of the championship since day one, and going to those races in the first year in Battersea Park, and just sort of seeing the journey. And it's been strange. Like it's struggled to keep up at times. I think the next generation of car it looks fantastic. The Gen 4 car, but they're still there. That's the incredible thing. Like it's like being in the Premier League and just sort of surviving is almost like the goal. I don't mean it nastily,
Like
but
Spurs.
like it's well, yeah. But they're there. They're still there. You know, it's what, I don't know how many years now. What, 10, 12?
But the manufacturers want it. I think that's a big part of it, isn't it? Like the manufacturers that are
Yeah.
there. I mean, I know some have come and gone, but the core ones that are there are really wedded to the idea of Formula E, which I think it really helps its longevity. I did quite enjoy though that it's a bit London Luton, London Colchester Airport, isn't it? When they call it, it's still going to be the London E-Prix presented by Brands Hatch or something. I thought that was quite entertaining.
Yeah, a bit of a push.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right about London Luton and London Gatwick. Yeah.
London Stansted.
Yes.
Right, anyway,
London
this is
Southend. That's even further out.
Yeah, London
Well,
Southend.
that is Essex.
There we go.
Right. Well, that was really wind you up and let you go. Right. Formula E podcast incoming, or not. I'm still not probably going to watch it. Anyway, thank you very much for listening. We will be back after the weekend of what will hopefully be a thrilling Formula One race in Austria with all of the reviews, all of the gossip, and all of the analysis as well. Please stay safe in the heat. It is very hot here. It's very hot everywhere in Europe, it seems. Although actually there was a bit of McLaren saying that they could be rain this weekend. Obviously, if you live in London, the thunderstorm that we were treated to over the last couple of days was quite something. Woke me up and shook the house. Slightly terrifying. Had to check that it was actually thunder. Anyway, look at me digressing as I wrap it all up.
What did you think it could have been? What was the
know.
other alternative?
Well, I didn't know, like, I live opposite a park, so I wasn't sure the whole thing was like caving in. But yeah, I opened a curtain and could see the lightning, so it was fine. It was fine. It was just an unbelievable storm. Right. What am I going on about?
Yeah,
Look, seriously, the heat has got to my brain. Well, it's you lot with your Formula E chat. Right, anyway, until next time, thanks very much for listening.
Thank you.
That's definitely a dress, Ben.